Welcome to Read in Minutes. Here's a short summary of the book Moneyball by Michael Lewis. If you enjoy it, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Now let's get started. Moneyball, The Art of Winning an Unfair Game by Michael Lewis is a compelling nonfiction book that explores how the Oakland Athletics, a Major League Baseball (MLB) team with one of the lowest budgets in the league, managed to compete at a high level by embracing data and analytics. The book delves into the journey of the team's general manager, Billy Beane, and how he revolutionized the way baseball teams evaluate talent by challenging the traditional methods that had been relied upon for decades. Setting the scene: baseball's financial landscape. The story is set in the early 2000s, a time when Major League Baseball was dominated by wealthy teams like the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. These teams had massive financial resources, allowing them to sign the best players with huge contracts. In contrast, smaller market teams like the Oakland Athletics, often referred to as the A's, operated with significantly smaller budgets. This financial disparity meant that the A's couldn't afford to compete for the top players in the league, leaving them at a significant disadvantage. Despite these challenges, the A's managed to achieve remarkable success. They consistently made it to the playoffs, which caught the attention of Michael Lewis. The central question that Lewis seeks to answer in Moneyball is, how did the Oakland A's, with their limited financial resources, manage to compete with the wealthiest teams in baseball? The traditional approach to baseball scouting. For decades, baseball teams had relied on a traditional approach to scouting and evaluating players. Teams employed scouts who would travel around the country, watching players in action and making judgments based on their experience, intuition, and a set of unwritten rules that had been passed down through generations. Scouts looked for players who had the right physical attributes, tall, strong, and fast, believing that these traits were essential for success in the sport. They also paid close attention to traditional baseball statistics like batting average, home runs, and runs batted in, RBIs. However, this traditional approach was deeply flawed. It was subjective, relying heavily on the scout's personal biases and gut feelings rather than on objective data. As a result, many players who didn't fit the conventional mold were overlooked, while others who appeared to have the right physical attributes but lacked the necessary skills were overvalued. Billy Beane's revolutionary approach. Billy Beane, the general manager of the Oakland A's, recognized the limitations of the traditional scouting system. He understood that if the A's were going to compete with the big-budget teams, they needed to find a different way to evaluate players, one that was rooted in objective data rather than subjective opinions. Beane turned to a new approach called sabermetrics, a term coined by Bill James, a baseball writer and statistician. Sabermetrics is the application of statistical analysis to baseball, with the goal of understanding the game better and making more informed decisions. Unlike traditional scouting, which focused on physical attributes and traditional statistics, sabermetrics emphasized the importance of overlooked statistics like on-base percentage, OBP, and slugging percentage, SLG. These metrics provided a more accurate measure of a player's ability to contribute to the team's success. One of the key insights from sabermetrics was that getting on base was more valuable than many traditional statistics suggested. While batting average had long been the gold standard for evaluating hitters, Beane and his team realized that OBP, which measures how often a player reaches base, was a much better predictor of a player's ability to help the team score runs. Building a competitive team on a budget. With this new understanding, Beane and his assistant, Paul DePodesta, set out to build a competitive team on a shoestring budget. They identified players who were undervalued by other teams, players who might have had unconventional playing styles, been considered too old, or been overlooked for other reasons. These players often had high OBPs or other valuable but overlooked attributes that made them effective contributors to the team. One of the most famous examples from the book is Scott Hatteberg. Hatteberg was a former catcher who had suffered an injury that made it difficult for him to continue playing his position. Most teams had written him off as a result, but Beane saw that Hatteberg had a high on-base percentage, which made him a valuable player despite his injury. The A's signed him as a first baseman, even though he had never played the position before. Under Beane's guidance, Hatteberg learned to play first base and went on to have a successful season with the A's, proving that Beane's approach worked. Another example is Chad Bradford, a pitcher with an unorthodox, submarine-style throwing motion that most teams didn't take seriously. However, Beane recognized that Bradford's statistics showed he was very effective at getting batters out. The A's signed him, and he became a key part of their bullpen, contributing to the team's success. The 2002 season, a turning point. The 2002 season is the focal point of Moneyball. Despite losing key players like Jason Giambi and Johnny Damon to free agency, the A's managed to win 103 games and make it to the playoffs. This was an incredible achievement for a team with such a small budget and a roster of players that many other teams had dismissed as not good enough. One of the most memorable moments from the season was the A's 20-game winning streak, which set an American League record. The streak was a testament to the effectiveness of Beane's data-driven approach and the ability of the team to compete with bigger, wealthier franchises. It also served as a vindication of the sabermetric principles that Beane had embraced, showing that a team built on data and analytics could succeed at the highest level of the sport. The broader impact of Moneyball. Moneyball had a profound impact on the world of baseball and beyond. After the success of the Oakland A's, many other teams began to adopt sabermetrics and incorporate data-driven decision-making into their operations. This led to a shift in how players were evaluated, how teams were built, and even how the game was played. The book also sparked a broader discussion about the role of data and analytics in various industries. The idea that you could challenge conventional wisdom and find success by relying on data and evidence resonated with people in many fields, from business to education to healthcare. Moneyball became a symbol of the growing importance of data-driven decision-making in the modern world. Criticism and controversy. While Moneyball was widely praised, it also faced some criticism. Some traditionalists in the baseball world were skeptical of the emphasis on statistics and felt that the book downplayed the importance of scouting and the human element of the game. They argued that baseball was not just a numbers game, but also required a deep understanding of the players' personalities, work ethics, and ability to perform under pressure. There were also concerns that the book gave too much credit to Billy Beane and not enough to the players who actually performed on the field. Additionally, some argued that the success of the A's was not solely due to sabermetrics, but also to other factors, such as the team's strong pitching staff and solid defense. Despite these criticisms, the book's central message about the value of data and the importance of questioning traditional assumptions remained influential. Conclusion: a new era in baseball. Moneyball is more than just a book about baseball. It's a story about innovation, the power of data, and the courage to challenge the status quo. Billy Beane and the Oakland A's showed that it was possible to win in an unfair game by thinking differently and using evidence to make smarter decisions. Their success paved the way for a new era in baseball, where data and analytics play a central role in how teams are built and how the game is played. The lessons of Moneyball extend far beyond the baseball diamond, offering valuable insights for anyone interested in how to succeed in a competitive environment. Whether in sports, business, or any other field, the book reminds us that innovation often comes from questioning the established ways of doing things and embracing new ideas, even when they seem unconventional or risky.